Tell me about your mallet.
I don't even remember when I bought it, but it's over 20 years. I can tell you that. I remember when I first started playing, like back in '99, like competitively in the tournaments in Austin at the Ritz with Chris Hagberg, as a matter of fact, and I was playing with the low top for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I made the move to a high top just because, it was a translucent, and, it was like, okay, well, I want to see what it was like.
Sure.
And plus, and I didn't even really know about it from, there's the whole concept of whether or not defensively it's a better mallet, a lot. There's the argument about whether or not it, hey, switch to a high top if you want to play better defense.
Right, I understand. Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Okay.
I just wanted to try something else out.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's got to be. I want to say maybe I purchased it right around Texas State time
and it looks like original cream, original. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
that's super legit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's got to be 20 years old.
Wow. Awesome.
At least maybe 2002.
Okay.
2001.
And this I'm seeing a lot. What is this?
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly?
So I have to, and he'll see it, but I have to give Ramiro credit. That guy. And even the way I tape my fingers, actually. I was having issues losing the mallet.
Right.
And I asked Ramiro, because I saw one of his matches, and he just looked it looked like it was glued to his hand.
Yeah.
He took a picture of how he had it taped, and he was using, the adhesive tape around here. He was putting one strip of adhesive tape around his middle finger, and then he was using just regular, medical tape on his other fingers. And I have very few instances where I've used the mallet ever since I changed that, and that's been something as of the past 3 years or so.
Okay. Yeah, that's a kind of a tacky,
Yeah. So essentially, what's happening? I play with three fingers. A 3-finger grip. Where this is essentially kind of like my stopper.
Sure.
Sometimes, I'll play claw or something like that. But for the most part, this is my traditional.
I've never heard it called claw, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So please tell me. Say who you are and where you're from.
My name is Marcos Quintanilla. I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
Okay, cool.
Born and raised. I did spend a little bit of time in Austin, and actually Austin is that's probably where I first found out that there was an actual competitive.
Right.
They were doing point spot tournaments. I remember seeing an article in the Austin Chronicle.
Wow.
And Tuesday nights they would have.
Was it called the Ritz?
It was the Ritz.
Yeah. Okay.
It was the Ritz, and I remember going there, and I thought I was the bee's knees.
Sure. Yeah. Of course.
Because I used to play in San Antonio. I used to play in like Divergence and Diamond J's. Those were the arcades in San Antonio, right? And I was like, oh, dude, they have air hockey tournaments. I'm there. And I was probably I was 21. I was probably about 21 years old, right? And I say that's where I got the affinity for professional air hockey, sideburns, and craft beers. All at the same time. So we would start tournaments at like 9 o'clock at night and finish at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So and it was on 6th Street. Off of Red River and 6th.
And did you play? I'm trying to remember. There was a guy that had played in Houston for a long time, that then moved to Austin, and he was part of that scene. And I don't remember his name.
The people I remember playing with specifically would have been Nikki Chiquette at the time, before she became Nikki Flanagan.
Okay.
A gentleman by the name of Clay, I think Clay Daniels. Another guy named David Santorino.
That's who it is, I think.
Yeah, he was very good.
He was good, yeah.
He was like the arch rival of Chris Hagberg.
Okay, yeah.
And then, of course, Chris Hagberg.
Right.
And Chris Hagberg kind of ran the tournaments, and he was the top dog at the time, back then. So.
Well, I remember him from California, and then, he came to.
Yeah, I used to have to give him rides home because he didn't have a car, so, you know what I mean? And it was a cool guy, man.
So, what do you do for a living?
I am it's always a tough way to explain it, but I work in workforce management, so I'm
Okay.
responsible for determining how many people you're going to need at any given
Sure.
point in time to
Yeah.
answer the telephones for a
Oh,
financial
okay,
center.
okay.
So it's statistical analysis, that
Sure.
kind of thing, and advising business leaders
Right.
like, hey, look, we think you're going to be busy around this time. You should start hiring now,
Sure.
so that way you
Right.
have people
yeah.
to answer the phones.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very cool. So we've already talked about this a little bit, but how did you discover air hockey?
Well, so I can't give all the credit to Austin, to be honest
Right.
with you. I discovered air hockey very early. I believe it was a place called Showbiz Pizza in San Antonio.
Okay.
I was very young, and I remember playing with my dad.
Oh.
I couldn't have been more 7, 8 years old.
Okay. Yeah.
And playing with my dad and just absolutely loving it.
Right.
And then when I was in high school, actually middle school and high school, I spent a lot of time in arcades.
Right. Yeah. A mall
And-
rat like me.
And yes, and at the time we were playing on Brunswick Ground Tops
Yeah.
at Diamond J's, and I had a hard straight, and I used to hit hard straights, and I used to charge a bunch,
So I'm not sure. I think it was only the Dynamo that had the brown. You think it was a Brunswick?
It could have been a Dynamo.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right.
I thought it was a Brunswick, but it could have been
It was an
Dynamo.
earlier table.
It was this would have been between 1991 and 1995.
Okay. All right.
And when I
interesting.
started, that was high school, and then when I moved
Sure.
to Austin around 98, 99, that's when I started playing
Okay.
competitively. And then, I used to work for Laser Quest at the time.
Okay, so that's the connection with Vince.
It's not only the connection
Okay.
to Vince.
But okay, a connection.
We used to play Laser Quest tournaments,
Right, right.
which honestly is very similar to this.
Right.
You got a whole bunch of people playing
Right.
a niche
Right.
kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
sport that's a
Okay.
little oddball.
Yeah.
And there was a tournament outside of just Laser Quest called the Golden Puck,
Yes.
and we used to compete.
Yes.
in
That's,
this,
he told me about this.
in this Golden
yeah.
Puck challenge.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Austin, I then moved back to San Antonio in a couple of years, and I started bringing cuts and
Right, news, yeah.
like shots,
Sure.
right? And Vince, being the savant that he
Yeah.
is, picked that up really fast and started
he was like,
terminating us very fast.
Take it to another level.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the
That's how you
connection with
just-
Vince, and
okay.
I've known Vince since he was 16
Right.
years old.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So you kind of
Maybe
your
even
relationship
younger.
is similar to kind of like some of his what we would call the Greens Wolverines, right? We all hung out at Greens game room and played air hockey and all that. Yeah.
we were what we were considered Laser Quest members. So yeah, that's how we know each other.
So would you say? I mean, you're mentioning Laser Quest, so I'm interested in this. But is air hockey your first true passion pursuit, or have there been others?
In respect to gaming,
In respect to a pursuit in life that is for purely the passion for it.
I would say it's if it's not the first, it's the primary.
Okay.
Okay. Without a shadow of a doubt. And to be honest with you, me and Vince took a very long
You're right. I know. Long pause.
hiatus.
Yeah.
About a 15, 16-year hiatus.
That's amazing.
And I remember I was actually coming to a concert here in Houston, and it was by, I could have sworn it was by the place that I had played my last Texas State. And I remember in that Texas State, I actually had to ref a match between Will Upchurch and Pedro Mora. And it went,
Wow.
match point either way.
Right.
And it was the most stressful thing to have to ref
Yeah.
ever.
For sure.
But it was the last time I really played, and because life happens.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Life happens, and then, so fast forward to 2016,
Right.
I'm going to a concert, and we're staying by a place that looked like it. And I remember being at, my girls wanted to go and go to the mall,
Right.
and I was like, I want to go play some air hockey. And I went to Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
And then I remember just kind of getting on the internet, who's still, who's,
yeah,
who's
is there
playing,
something?
Is there
Yeah,
still something?
yeah.
Is it still happening?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I came back to San Antonio. I called up Vince.
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, you want to go to Dave & Buster's and just shoot around and stuff like that? And the next thing you know, we were going to diversions again, and then we started finding out what was what, and you know, insert.
Sure. No, I know the last 5 years.
The last 5 years.
Okay, cool. So, given what you've said, this next question is, I guess, sort of interesting. What does air hockey mean to you?
Oh man. It's very important. It takes a lot of time.
Yes, it does.
It takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication, and it's a constant battle. It's so chess-like, but it's this constant battle of not doing what you instinctually are supposed to do. You're training yourself to actually go opposite of that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's for me, it's honestly, it's kind of like about facing your fears. It's about trying not to be scared of, like, for example, holding a high defense.
Sure.
You know, holding the triangle.
Right. Right.
And not what I call turtling.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody's coming up on a slow jet, and you're like, I call that turtling.
Yeah.
Or when somebody not trying not to clap back when somebody does an off goal, and you hear them go,
Right.
You know, like, you know, it's trying to fight that, you know, and it's trying not to move over like that when you see somebody slow drift over there. It's really trying to be disciplined. And, you know, we really try to train that in San Antonio, and what it means, like, this whole group of people, there's this camaraderie.
Sure.
It's family and everything like that, and I genuinely do enjoy coming and joking around and having rapport. I don't want to consider myself a clown or anything like that, but I'm constantly trying to kind of keep the peace, and you know, I've just built very good relationships with lots of people, and it's about the respect of the game and the player, and
shared common interest.
Yeah, so I mean, it means a lot. It means a lot to me. So,
but I heard two threads in there. One was the idea that you would potentially, it's an activity in which you are forced, or maybe you choose to face your fear by, you know, metaphorically by, you know, training yourself to do what's not instinctual, right? And then the other thread is just that I heard is the camaraderie, the community, that it's a place where that exists.
And for me, generally, it's also about growing the sport.
Okay.
Especially in San Antonio, because think about it, 5 years ago. It's me and Vince.
Right, and you're back.
Right, and then our buddy Paul, who's also Laser Quest. But next thing you know, we met Doug at a World Championship. We happened to find out that he used to live in San Antonio. He then relocates back, and then now, you know, Colin.
I know.
Is coming in,
it's
and you've come to San Antonio, and we're trying to grow it. Now today we've got 7 people.
Yeah,
that's
7
awesome. People at this tournament that train out of my garage.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So,
no, that's great.
So it
really is
super cool.
It is cool.
And then I will say this last thing about what it means. Sure. It's the resolve. I spent a lot of time losing in San Antonio because I spent a lot of time losing because I was playing against Vince all the time.
Right, I understand.
I felt like most of the time, if I ever wanted to win, I had to come here.
Right, I got you.
Right, so going and getting beat religiously over and over and over and over again until you finally start seeing results.
Sure. Yeah.
So
that was hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
And you know, there's a lot of that mental fortitude and that strength that plays out in reality, in real life.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
It can translate.
Absolutely. So you develop that sense of determination, resolve. You know, you're getting just over and over and over, you know, cracked by, you know, this guy. Then in life, you find a situation where, you know, you're up against it, and the only way to prevail is to just stick with it.
Yeah.
And so now you know you've had success doing that in air hockey, so it's like, just apply that in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it satisfies the competitive spirit.
Right. Yes. So and that kind of goes back to what you said in the beginning. Is that air hockey means so much, right? And there's a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
There. Okay. So do you feel like air hockey in any way has changed you?
I feel that I have changed as an air hockey player.
Okay.
Just as a matter of the need to evolve, right? In terms of a very intense player, right? And I was having this conversation with our colleagues in Chicago. I used to feel a lot of the time when I would go against somebody, especially when I didn't know them, they were my enemy.
Right.
Like we were about to fight.
Right. Okay.
Right. And what that would do is that would put a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I want to beat them.
Right.
And all of that.
Yeah.
And now when I look at them as like we're
your brothers and sisters, whatever. Yeah.
Right. And we're not about bad feelings and poor sportsmanship.
Sure.
So it makes that less of like I want to kill you. Sure. On the table.
No, I understand.
No, don't get me wrong. I don't.
You want to win. I get it.
Yeah,
but
you definitely want to win, but it's different.
There's not a sense of anger behind it as much as just this is a challenge.
And I don't know if I could have said that 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, so then air hockey has changed you.
Yeah, well, as a matter of evolution, as a matter of necessity for me.
Sure.
And maybe because also I'm getting a little bit older.
Okay, that's fine.
You know,
I get it. I get that. Okay, so imagine that we have the attention of the world. We want the attention, right? We want people to know, and we've been struggling for years and years on reaching out to the world. But imagine for a moment that the world is looking at us and they're listening. What is the one thing the world needs to know about air hockey?
That it's actually a real sport. How many times have you heard, oh, that's a thing?
Yeah.
That's almost backhanded. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
You know what I mean? It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, I spend hours a week.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
They need to know that, like, just like a foosball, right? Ping pong, these cornhole, these niche, what I would consider niche sports.
Right.
They need to be recognized as legitimate.
Yeah.
And not only that, but as exciting. Like, people don't realize how fast and how controlled and how coordinated and just the strength and the dexterity that is required and the discipline to do this over and over and over again. How much time we put into it, like, it's real to us.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't just like I went to the arcade and
I understand.
Played some games.
Yeah. So there's two things that they see. Oh, this is something more, and it's deserving of the type of passion which these folks are demonstrating.
Yeah, and it's exciting.
Right.
It's the fastest sport.
Yeah.
Like people need to
know
to see, like, people. It's cool.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw somebody do a diamond drift.
Right.
Oh, it was the coolest thing
Like,
ever.
wow.
And then, how many times have you been somewhere, like Chucky, at a Peter Piper Pizza or whatever, some sort of game place, and you pull a diamond drift or whatever it may be, or
people are like,
whoa, and it's that whole razzle dazzle kind of style.
For sure.
Before, to me, it was a lot of that, like, oh, look, I want to look cool. It was very much style over substance. And now it's all substance.
Right. But then within that substance, some of the style starts to evolve, like, organically.
We have characters here.
Yeah?
We have characters. We have people that all have different styles, and the sport is evolving. I was saying this earlier, like, I saw a 2016 came up on my Facebook feed of the top 16 that came through. And I think about the top 16 now and just how that playing field has just really tightened up. And I start seeing people being extremely disruptive with their defense. I start seeing people doing very difficult left of center right wall unders, and then the right wall overs, the unblockables. And you go back to the evolution of the sport, watching, the rise of the wolf, the young wolf, and watching all of that, and just going, whoa, this is what it was, and to, like, this is what it is.
There's
people need to see that. And because we need people to help grow that. There are other people out there, but these millennials, these Gen Z kids, this seems right up their wheelhouse.
No, I agree. You're preaching the choir there. So a couple of fun questions to kind of end on here. What is your best air hockey shot?
A cut.
Okay, and
by far.
Is it a really slicey cut, or is it, how are you doing it?
It is a very, it looks like an under, right? It looks like I'm going to go under. It makes people do that, you know. It's powerful. It's a powerful
I've seen
cut.
it.
So, like it.
Yeah.
So I like hitting the right of center like cross cut. If you will.
So all right. So that's helpful.
I also like hitting straight up the gut if I need to.
Right.
If they're going to give it to me, or left of center. And the left of center cut. And talking about evolution, I didn't really used to have a left of center cut. It wasn't really until I was watching Houston players.
That's my cut.
Yeah. Playing left of center cuts, and I'm like, oh, this works. And then you start throwing in from that left of center cut. That's the next shot I'm really trying to hone in. And I just haven't had enough time to work on it, which is complementing with that left of center right wall under. It's just not there yet.
Which it's interesting you said it, because it sort of leads me to this other question, which is the universe is going to gift you one single shot that's at championship caliber. What shot would you like?
It's that one.
That one.
It's that one. That one's not in my wheelhouse right now.
Okay.
That one and the unblockable. Which
you can pick one.
Well, it's the left of center.
Fair enough.
Because I have an over.
Okay.
It's not the unblockable. It's I already have an over that's pretty effective. But the left of center cut. I'm sorry, not the left of center cut. So the left of center right wall under is the shot I want, because I have, in a couple of times, feel like I've stalled.
Okay.
And it's like, man, I could use another
one other thing.
I could use another arrow in the quiver.
I get that.
And I even said it after the last ESPN Invitational, and I played the Chicago boys, Dan and Q, and I felt like I stalled. And I even said it then. I was like, you know what, I really want to work on that left of center cut. And then I tried, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm working on something different.
Fair enough.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Now you said the unblockable. I'm assuming you have a specific. I don't know what you're referring to. Is it the right wall over?
The unblockable is the Danny. It's off the Danny drift.
Okay.
It's the back of the mallet.
Right wall over.
Right wall over
from really far
left. Left.
Okay. Yeah. That's a crazy freaking shot.
We call it the
unblockable. Yeah. It's
Which
great.
is interesting, because I don't know where the name came from.
Well, I think the name probably comes from the fact that it's super hard to block.
Yeah, no, I get that. I just don't know who called it the unblockable.
Oh, you don't know who
who
dubbed it that?
And because we have there's a lot of terms that fly around.
No, I understand.
For example, like in San Antonio, we have terms, right? Like you've heard me refer to like turtling.
Sure, yeah.
Right, or the clap,
makes sense.
or the clap back, or we have what's called a double tap.
Okay.
And the double tap, and I don't know who really started doing the double tap, but the double tap is, you're coming up on the drift, and it's a tap versus just a tap.
Okay.
So like if you're going left, left drift, to play a cross left wall under game, it's a tap, but that first tap is what moves the defense. That second tap, actually, if the first tap didn't move the defense, the second tap did, and then that's when you shoot.
I haven't seen this, but so you're tapping it, which you're saying like that. Then they flinch.
I'm saying if they don't flinch, it's the second tap.
Oh, it's the second. Okay, then tap. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's a double tap.
Gotcha.
Neat.
It
is.
Yeah.
Everybody's making up their own stuff.
Well, no, of course.
And then just certain kinds of strategies, like the Pedro.
Okay.
Right.
Which is to try to go over under.
The Pedro is, it's wide stance.
Oh, okay.
And it's very right of center. And it's very undercut, right wall over.
Yeah.
There's the left drift, right? They're what we call the Danny.
Right.
And the Danny is that tap. It's that
right. No,
that
drift.
That drift that he does. There's the what I call the circle drift, and there's been terminology. We question this. A circle drift to me is just a reverse. It's a reverse diamond.
Okay.
But that's the Colin. That's the Colin drift.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
You know.
We'll see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but
everybody has different terminology, right?
Yes,
So,
yes, yeah.
so for my generation, the circle drift and the diamond drift was the same thing. It's
Yes.
just that it's just for whatever reason, some people called it one, some people called it the other.
Yeah. To me, the diamond looks like a diamond. The circle is really more. It's less of a diamond.
Interesting. Yeah,
I don't see very pronounced. I see very pronounced diamonds.
Yeah.
But I don't see
You see a lot of
necessarily very
circles.
pronounced circles. I
Circles.
mean, reverse diamonds, if you will.
Right. Gotcha.
So that's why they look like
right.
circles.
It looks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, last question:
Okay.
who is or was the greatest of all time?
You know, I haven't. I only know really from who I've played.
That's fine.
Right. So when I watch when I watch Danny's game,
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's a style unique to his own.
Mm-hmm.
It's a style that I try to pull stuff from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Danny's been extremely. He's coached me a couple of
Sure,
times.
yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah,
very.
he does that a lot. Yeah.
He wants to see the sport grow.
Sure. Yeah.
And the resolve to be on top for that long, and company was standing, right? Like, you did so much for the sport, bringing it up. So I don't want it to sound like a slight, but like I haven't played you.
Yeah, no, I got you.
You know,
Yeah.
I haven't played you. So I barely knew that history.
Sure. Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I didn't really know much of the history except when I was playing, Danny was
Danny's
the
the
man.
man. Yeah.
Danny was the man.
Yeah.
And we just came back from stalling this interview so we can watch
Danny. Yeah.
play against Keith in an epic match.
Yeah.
And he can still do it.
Yes.
And
Longevity is amazing.
And you, hey, look, we're not getting any younger.
No.
Right? And like,
Yeah.
he's coming off of a very long hiatus.
Yeah.
You know, and
He's able to raise
he's
his
still
level.
competing.
Yeah.
You know, and even to the point where I mimic every once and again this.
Right, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I find myself mimicking,
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
mimic Danny or thinking
Yeah.
about Danny when he plays defense. And then who do I think? You know, we got Colin and then my
Right.
boy Vince.
Yeah,
You know,
I got you. Yeah.
Vince is the best left-hander
Yeah.
in my opinion of all time. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Cool. Well,
I'd give it to Danny Hines.
Yeah. And for the record, I agree with you. So it was
Hey,
a great interview.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
We
I look forward to
appreciate
seeing it.
what you guys are doing in San Antonio. We want to keep, some of that good-natured, competition between the two cities going.
Oh yeah,
and,
absolutely. I-10 rivalry.
Yes, right. And yeah, hopefully you will have the results you want in this tournament.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
Hopefully so. We'll see. Time will tell. But I appreciate the time.
Yeah.
I really do.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
All right.